Love. I just wanted someone to say they cared. Somebody to say, hey, guess what?
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. And the stuff that you're doing, I mean, there's another way. It's just I didn't know there was another.
And do you find yourself overdoing that with your own kids because never had it, or
Well, so there's a couple. I see what you're saying. So there's a couple parts to that. Kids need to build resilience.
yeah,
They need to build their own character. They need to go through some of their own trials in order to build strength, right? To build strong character. But at the same time, they also need to know that you're there, that they have your love and your support, and that they need to hear the words, I love you. I never heard that growing up.
Yeah.
And my mom, I love my mom, and there probably were times that she said it, but it wasn't enough that I don't remember.
Yeah, it didn't stand out.
It didn't stand out at all.
It wasn't at the right times.
Right. The times that I
when
really
you
needed
it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I did have my older sister after I moved in with her, right? She did take care of me. And at least she said you had to be home by midnight.
Yeah.
And at least she said, hey, if you're going to do drugs, do them at my house. At least there was like that. So like if you're going to party, have your friends come to my house. So I know you're not going to like overdo it and die somewhere.
Well, that's way better than drinking because that's what we're doing. So it's way better than drinking on the street and getting in a wreck. And
I would have gotten into so many other things if it hadn't been for her, for reals. I was already headed down that path. And, because my friends were coming to my house, my sister at least limited some of the stuff. She's like, no, you're not bringing that hardcore stuff into our house. So at least we had to do that. But so how did I change? How did I overcome those kinds of things? I'm sure people are wondering, if you're listening to this, what changed?
Yeah.
What changed me? So along this path, I knew that there was something else. I just didn't know what it was. So I was in this constant search, right, for something. I met a girl that was the most beautiful person I had ever seen up to that point.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are motivated by that.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of men change because of that. But she was a major inspiration for me to change. But I also knew that I needed to do it for myself and not just for her. Mm-hmm. Because doing something just for someone else, it's not going to last. So, she was my girlfriend at the time, and I said, guess what? I'm going to do everything I can to change my life. I want to overcome all this stuff. I want to be a better person. And I know at some point I'm going to need to be able to provide for a family at some point.
Yeah.
And even though at this time we hadn't even discussed like getting married, but still I was like, I need to be the man that I know that I should be. And I didn't have that example. In fact, the example I had from my dad was what not to be.
Well, I think that's sometimes the strongest ways to learn, is by what not to be. Mm-hmm. And you can learn that from anyone. You can find certain things that they do that you don't like, and you can learn from them.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what I did. And I had that discussion with my dad.
Yeah.
So everybody knows, I'm not downing on my parents at all. I love them. My dad passed away just last year. And before he passed away, a couple years ago, we talked, and he said that he even asked me, like, how did you turn out? How did you, literally out of all the siblings, you have a beautiful wife, 6 daughters.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's like, how are you sane? Because for him, he had 10 kids.
Yeah.
And he couldn't keep himself sane. In fact, when I was 15, he was in the state hospital, the mental institution, because he was suicidal and was mentally unstable. And I said, well, Dad, the starting of it was that I had exactly the example of what not to be, and that was you.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds harsh, but he was like, you know what? I get it. I understand.
It's extremely harsh, but it's extremely true.
It is. I looked at what he had. I said, where does he live? Do I want to live there? No. What kind of lifestyle does he have? Do I want that? No. Is he still addicted to things? Yes. Do I want that? No. So I just basically did everything opposite.
Yeah.
Right. And I had to search out my own mentors. I had to search out a lot of different things. I started reading tons of self-help books.
Yeah.
Started meditating, started doing affirmations. And the whole reason why this got like so important for me to do this was because when I was 19, back to the 19 years old, I was diagnosed with, I went to a place and they said, hey, we'll help you get a good job, get into school. Because I wanted to go to college, but I'd been kicked out of high school. So they were like, well, we can help you get into college, but you need to go to a therapist. You need to do all these things. And they said, well, go to this place. We'll put you through some tests. So they put me through these tests, and all it showed was that I was clinically depressed. I had clinical depression. I had borderline personality disorder and ADHD, ADD. And then they just wanted me to take some meds for it.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, I just got off drugs and I just got off of things. I don't want anything that like manipulates my mind at all.
And those kind of drugs are the worst.
Psychiatric drugs.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah, I'd already seen what they had done to my dad. In fact, he ended up in the mental institution because of some of those.
So crazy.
And, it's just because anyways, I don't want to get into legalities of why, that. But he was worse. He said he was worse and more suicidal when he was on them. So he's like, I don't want to use them.
I've heard that so many times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they've changed some of them. And I get it. If somebody out there has to be on one and it does work and it literally is improving their life and you're not getting the side effects, then good.
Yeah. Keep taking it.
Yeah. So, but me, I knew there was another way.
Yeah.
So I told these people, I said, okay, listen, I don't want to take these drugs, but I still want help getting into college. And they said, well, here's the thing. You kind of have to follow our protocol. I said, I'll go to the therapist.
But
I'll do all that kind of stuff.
Take the drugs.
I don't want to take the drugs. So I've been studying on nutrition, exercise, positive thinking, and how it can change your body, your mind, and how it can actually help you increase more dopamine, serotonin, all that kind of stuff naturally.
So you're 19 at this point?
Yeah. And this is what I was telling them. I'm like, listen, there is a way.
That's extremely grown up.
Well, I've been through a lot up to that point, right?
Yeah.
And most kids aren't even thinking that.
No.
And so anyways.
That's why I said it's extremely grown up, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you. So they made a deal with me. They said, okay, we'll put you on a trial that basically if you do better your first semester in college, if you do well, then, and you document everything that you're doing to the T, then we'll take a look at your file and we'll see if we can help you. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
So I get accepted I take the entrance exam, go into my first semester into college, and I'm taking all lower level classes because I'd been kicked out and I was lacking in credits. So the first whole semester wasn't even college credit. But anyways, I'm taking these classes and I'm documenting everything that I do from the time I wake up, exactly how much water I'm drinking, the food that I'm eating, the nutrition that I'm putting in my body. Yeah. This isn't just food, you guys.
That makes perfect sense on why you do what you do today.
Yes, it does.
Even when you're 19, you're already in that mindset.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I wrote down exactly what exercises I did, everything, you guys, just the full schedule of everything. And I presented it to them. And at the end of the semester, they saw such improvement that they said, we are willing to pay for 4 years of college, or at least pay for the tuition fees.
Yeah.
And I just had to cover all the rest. And you guys, that is amazing.
Yeah. That's huge.
That I knew exactly what I wanted to do with my life at that point. I said, you know what? I have purpose. I want to be able to improve the lives of others that have been in situations, or even people that aren't even in a situation as hard as mine, or, because there are a ton, that had it worse than I did, that there is a way. There's an alternative. There's a way to do something natural and support your body's own systems to develop a stronger, healthy human being again.
Yeah.
And I did it. I fixed it all myself. I went into college. I got my degree in exercise science.
That's awesome.
And then I went on and got a certification in strength and conditioning. I was a strength coach for a while. Then I became a movement efficiency coach, a master level nutritionist through Precision Nutrition. I kept going on and on and on as much as I could, and now I run a full gym.
Yeah.
With all of everything that I've learned. I try to help and teach my people.
I really appreciate the movement aspect that you teach your client, because I had a brain injury, and so I lacked the movement in my right side. And so for him to focus so much on the movement aspects, it's really helpful.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Yeah.
And what I can say about that is that Shane has improved incredibly since I've been starting. How long have we been doing it? 2 years?
2 years,
about 2 years.
Yeah.
And he's shown tons of improvement in rotation and just being able to function better as a human being.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of progress. There's still a lot of things that need to go on, and we'll see where we can take it. Shane's story is incredible. You guys, you'll hear that one.
Yeah.
And it's awesome to work with somebody like you, and just to do this with people.
I'm sure that's awesome. The most rewarding part is working with certain people,
mm-hmm.
And getting to know their stories and getting to know how they overcame certain things and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's kind of what you talk about at the gym,
Yeah. So here's the routine, you guys. Here's what, because I kind of said, well, I scheduled everything and I presented it to them and they helped me, but here's really what I did. So exercise on a regular basis. We all know we need to do that, right? But I don't mean just like going on for a long distance type of thing. I mean like multiple modalities of exercise. So then you can work your muscles, you can work your cardiorespiratory system, you can work power, you can work rotation, you can work so many different aspects. And then I add in high intensity. I started this before any of this stuff was popular, before they even had the term HIIT. I would do lots of intervals. Reason is because you get a heavier release of dopamine to calm yourself, to make yourself feel better. You get a pretty heavy hit of dopamine from that exercise. You also release what's called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. So that neurotrophic factor helps increase the signaling of new brain cells to develop. And when you develop new brain cells, you have the capacity to increase your knowledge, your intelligence, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's something that little, fitness hack for you. Add in those HIIT exercises and all that kind of stuff, not only just for what it does for the body, but what it does for your brain, and all the neurology that goes on up in the brain. So I did that, and then along with the exercise, of course, eating healthy foods that were fresh, fruits, vegetables on a regular basis. I stopped eating fast food. I stopped eating as many of those processed packaged foods, candy, all that kind of stuff. In fact, I think I went almost 20 years now. Yeah. Without a donut, without a soda, without,
minimal sugar.
Yeah. Minimal sugar. Yeah. Now I'll have some natural stuff, and we'll use, natural stuff in my home, and I'll get some organic sugar and things like that in, but I try to limit the processing of things, the overly processed foods, because of how much inflammation they create in the body. And we know that inflammation is going to lead to damaged tissues in the body and your brain, and increasing that stress cycle. We'll talk about this another time.
Yeah.
But get into some of the science of that. But and then on top of that, one thing that really, really helped, so I have exercise, nutrition, was I started self-talk.
Yeah.
affirmations, right? This is where the David Goggins thing came in. What was it? Did you say David Goggins earlier?